Freedom is never the default. Freedom always has to be fought for every generation. The government can't censor speech simply because other people disagree with it. The good thing is that when we fight, we can win. My team wins 91% of its cases.
You guys are like the warriors, the defenders. It's fought with legal battles now as opposed to swords.
We need to stand and we need to be willing to speak courageously.
Hi, this is another episode of Truth, Love, and Liberty, and I'm here with Tyson Langhofer with Alliance Defending Freedom. They have a great organization. I want to have him talk about it a little bit. So tell us a little bit about what you do there.
Yeah, so Alliance Defending Freedom is the world's largest religious liberty law firm. We defend the rights of free speech. We defend the right of life, of marriage and family, the rights of church and religious organizations to be able to live consistently with their faith.
Nice.
We're a nonprofit organization, and specifically, I'm the director of the Center for Academic Freedom.
Okay.
And my team defends the rights of students and teachers in public K through 12 schools and colleges when their First Amendment rights are infringed upon by government officials.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And what are some of the bigger cases that you've worked on around that?
Yeah. So one example of a case is we represent Liam Morrison. And Liam, a couple of years ago, was a 7th grade student in Middleborough, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And his school all day, every day was talking about their views of gender and about sexuality. And they were encouraging the students to wear their pride during Pride Week and express their opinion about sex and gender. And Liam had a different view. And so he wore a shirt that said, "There are only 2 genders."
Yeah.
And within an hour, they shut him down. They told him that you had to either remove the shirt or leave school. And so he went and left school. And his dad asked him, "Why can't he do this?" And they said, "Well, you're offending other people." And he said, "Well, he's going to do it again." And so when he came back, he wore a shirt that said, "There are censored genders." And they made him take that off as well. And so we filed a lawsuit against the school because, the government can't censor speech simply because other people disagree with it. That's a bedrock principle of the First Amendment.
Right.
And especially when the government itself is expressing its own opinion and encouraging other students to express their opinion. And just to have one student who silently expresses his opinion about a topic that's of public concern, they can't say, "Hey, you can't say that." So we filed a lawsuit. Unfortunately, the district court ruled against us, and then the First Circuit ruled against us.
Okay.
So we've asked the Supreme Court to hear the case.
Nice.
Because it's really important that students understand when they go to their schools that that the government officials don't have the right to shut them down simply because other people disagree with it.
Yeah, praise God. That's amazing that you guys are doing this.
Yeah,
we need somebody fighting a good fight, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, here's the good thing. The thing that I've learned in my time at ADF is there's a lot of problems and there's a lot of threats to our liberty. But that's the bad news. The good news is that when we fight, we can win.
Yeah.
My team wins 91% of its cases.
Nice.
That means that the law is still really strong, right? That's a good thing. The good thing is that when we fight for our liberties, we can win.
Amazing.
But we need to take a stand.
Yeah.
And the freedoms that we have, you don't get those by default. Freedom is never the default, right? Freedom always has to be fought for every generation. The default throughout history is totalitarianism. That it's forcing people to practice a certain religion. That's the default. Our society, constitutionally based, is the anomaly throughout history.
Yeah.
And every generation has to take a stand. And thankfully, we have a lot of brave clients that are willing to take a stand.
Nice.
And I love, that's why I love what I do.
That's amazing. So what's some of the most egregious things you've seen or think that are coming up that we need to fight against?
Yeah.
You guys could take a stand against. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, so I'll give you another example. We currently represent 2 law students at the George Mason University, and they're in their 3rd year of law school. And there was a group chat for their all the law students were in it. And one of the members of the school, the chat said, "Hey, I'm going to go talk to the graduate student association, and I'm going to advocate to put tampons in men's rooms. What do you guys think about that?" 2 of the girls said, "Well, we don't think that's a good idea because that means that you're inviting men into women's rooms and women into men's rooms, and we wouldn't feel safe with biological men in our female spaces."
Yeah.
And they had a very respectful conversation. 2 weeks later, they received from their Title IX office at their university a no contact order that said that if you talk with this individual who started the conversation, you could be suspended or expelled. Simply because he disagreed with their opinions.
Yeah.
They had never talked with this guy before. They only responded to his question, right? And That's a really astonishing thing to think that these students are going to be lawyers in a year. They're going to go out there and debate. They're adults. And we have public universities telling these girls that simply because they expressed an opinion and somebody else disagreed, that the university gets to punish them and tell them if you do this again, you're going to get expelled.
Wow.
That's egregious. That's a clear violation of the Constitution.
Yeah.
And so, but thankfully we sued, and the university has removed those no contact orders, and we're hoping that they're going to modify their policy so that all students can freely express their opinion. We believe that the answer to bad speech is more speech.
Yeah.
We don't think it's government censorship.
Yeah.
That hasn't done anything for anybody.
Yeah.
Right? We need to stand, and we need to be willing to speak. And what I love about the First Amendment and our right to speak is that we say courage begets courage. The reason many people aren't speaking on some of these topics is because they don't hear anybody talking about it.
Yeah.
But when they hear one person talk, that gives the courage for the next person to talk, and then the next person. Because most people believe, what I believe. They believe that men are men and women are women, and that you can't change. But we need to be willing to speak that courageously and winsomely and lovingly, and help people understand that when you live inconsistent with God's plan, there's going to be harms.
Yeah.
And we need to do that and speak the truth more often, because truth will set us free.
Of course. Truth is always the answer. And so then people should contact you, right? You guys are looking for people to contact you with cases, potential cases. Is that what you guys are looking for?
Absolutely. So if you have a problem where you believe that the government is shutting down your speech, you can go to adflegal.org, adflegal.org. We've got a lot of information about our cases there. You can submit a request for help, and we'll look into it and see if we can help you out. All of our services are free. We're a nonprofit. We're supported by the public. We are able to do this because people love our work. They love the Constitution. They want to stand up for our rights to speak freely, the right to exercise our religious beliefs, the right to pursue truth.
Yeah.
So if you have a problem, give us a call. We'd love to look into it.
Amazing. I love what you guys are doing. Praise God.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Are you guys a Christian organization?
We are.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we are. Our theme verse is John 15:5. Apart from Christ, we can do nothing.
Yeah.
And we truly believe that. Apart from Christ, we can do nothing.
Amazing.
And we truly, our mission is to keep the doors open for the spread of the gospel. So we want to help the organizations that are out there to be able to do their God-given mission, right? To accomplish it through the freedoms that the Constitution gives us.
Amazing. You guys are like the warriors, the defenders, but it's fought with legal battles now as opposed to swords.
Absolutely. That's a good thing. I mean, the good thing is, when you think about it, there's only two ways to change society. We can either change it through physical force, violence, or through speech, rhetorical persuasion. That's it. And when today people are equating speech with violence, they're basically saying that there's no nonviolent way to change society. And that's a really scary thing. When you look around at the riots that we've had and the violence, that's a scary thing. Right. We don't want that. We don't want to have a society where we have to change through force. We can do it through persuasion, through speech, through persuading people, through building relationships. And so, absolutely. We are looking to battle in the courts. Yeah. So we don't have to battle from a physical standpoint like most throughout history, most societies have done.
That's amazing. Well, I hope people are encouraged. And anybody that experienced anything bad related to free speech or any kind of
free exercise
of any of freedoms in schools or wherever, to reach out to you guys. So how can they find you?
So go to adflegal.org, adflegal.org.
Awesome. Tyson, thanks for coming on. God bless.
All right.
Thanks.